All right, dog mom guilt time, Chrissy. I friggin' pack more for my pets than I do
Mhm.
myself on a road trip. Help me with this. Help those that are packing because dog bed, you name it.
It's so true. I think that's one of the hardest things that we run into is the what ifs when we're on travel with our pet. And what's realistic and what's kind of superfluous and what's too much to bring along. When I talk about packing, I always do a little, like if I'm going to do food, I'm always going to bring extra of that. But I'm going to bring obviously some of their comfort items. So if they
Okay.
have a familiar blanket or a familiar bed, I love to bring that as well. Obviously some toys and I exclusively save some toys so that they're new on the trip. That way, if we're in an
Okay.
environment where so if your dog feels a little left out or feels a little like you have to put them in a new place, give them something that's kind of going to kick in their toy drive and their play drive so that they're not like, where am I? What am I doing? Where are we? Bring out something really fun and exciting. So they start to associate these feelings of being in this new place with something very, very fun. And so if I get a bark box, I may take one of those boxes and save it for when I travel because inside are brand new toys that I know my dogs are going to be thrilled to see. And I kind of make it like a party wherever we end up going so that they have something fun to play with. And that goes the same for like having something that can settle your dog down for a while, bringing a Kong, bringing something that you can
Yeah.
stuff some peanut butter in, canned pumpkin. I try to steer from trying new foods with them on the road. With that being said, you do need to be careful of where you stop because although those truck stops may have the dog park and things like that, you do have to be careful because introducing your dog to these new areas where lots of other dogs may have used the bathroom could introduce new bacteria for your dog just through going through the grass. So I make a habit of wiping their feet every time we get out
Good
of a
tip.
truck stop or out of a gas station where they've used the bathroom. Because I have run into when we did America's Got Talent, we made it across country halfway, and then all of our dogs got a bug. And I'm pretty sure it's
Oh.
because we stopped at some place where they used the bathroom. And, we had to get metronidazole, the whole deal from the vet. It was a mess.
That's a really good tip. I like that. Yeah, because
Yeah.
one wants.
Yeah.
Also, I've learned to check in between their paw pads after, especially going out west, because there's always burrs and foxtails, things like that, right?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Arizona was like paws off.
Yes.
Every time I walked them out
Arizona.
there. No, Arizona's beautiful. I would go there every Thanksgiving, but on the side of the road, it was like these tiny little burrs. And I was like, holy cow. Like, I just didn't realize. And every time they walked out there, they'd be like, So we also bring booties with us in case. So we have little boots that are designed in case we need to do something like that. And that also goes in case they cut their paw pad. You want to have a first aid kit with you. And so we have, everything from your vet wrap to gauze, to pain medication, Benadryl in case they get an allergic reaction. But I really love, so you can buy pre-made first aid kits or you go to your vet and talk to them and say, hey, can I come in for an office visit and you help me design a first aid kit for my dog? Because let's be honest, none of our dogs are the same. So one of my dogs can't take a pain med that all the other dogs can take. That's something I need to be prepared for.
Well, you're talking to someone who is a master certified pet first aid instructor who teaches people all over the world. I really appreciate that you're emphasizing the need to have a customized first aid kit, not only for you, but for your dog. And if I can throw a tip on the Benadryl, everyone, read the label. It should have one ingredient and one ingredient only, and that is diphenhydramine. We call it the big D, because if you get children's Benadryl or you get a pain reduction and it has acetaminophen or xylitol, that's going to do a lot of damage to a dog. So I think you know that, right, Chrissy?
Yes. And I do know that. And also have your vet double check everything. It's a really easy thing for them to do. You can bring it in right before you go on your trip. Maybe you need a health certificate. Make sure you just let them do a once over because they might say, oh, this shouldn't really be utilized or this isn't safe. Sometimes I just bring simple saline, but you have to be so careful with things like eye drops because, you never know. Your dog gets something in their eye, irritates it. You're in the middle of nowhere. But you really do need to be careful because if there's other things in there, it could create some issues.
You want to take your dog on a road trip or to a great dog welcoming hotel, but really, you got to make sure your dog wants to be a road warrior with you. Can you talk about that? Because we might want that, but maybe your dog wants to be a stay-at-home dog.
That's actually something I'm dealing with right now. It's a great question. My eldest dog, Beasley, used to be the one that always went on all the trips. I mean, he's my heart dog. So, of course, I want him to come with me. And he's actually, we went over to Missouri. He's the national stud dog champion. He's just such a cool dog. He international trick dog champion. So lots of travels, things like that. However, as he got older, I noticed he was less enthusiastic about traveling. And when he got places, he sometimes would have like different stressors that would showcase. And so it was telling me enough that I was like, I just don't think he's going to want to do this forever. And I learned pretty quickly on that.
I know what you're saying. My dog's 8 years old. Kona loves going all the time, but maybe things would change when she becomes a senior. And it's paying attention to the cues your dog is giving you, right?
That's right. Yeah. And I think it's about at that time, separating your emotion from what your dog needs. And, I think that my dog would sacrifice a lot of his happiness to be with me. But is that what I want? And that's not what I want. And he has, I call it like grandpa's camp because he literally goes to my dad's house. I let him decide. And by giving him kind of the reins there, our relationship has gotten better instead of more stressed. If he wasn't having a good time, honestly, my travel was also changed because I was so worried about him.
No, good point. I travel with Kona and I had to go to Omaha to teach 80 people in pet first aid, not in one class, but over several days. And we ended up getting a VRBO over a hotel that had a fenced backyard. Yeah. And it seemed to make a big difference for Kona because it's a long trip, 10 hours from Dallas. And Kona just seemed to like the home setting. So I'm assuming that's not a bad idea, too, if there's a pet-friendly Airbnb or VRBO.
Yeah, and also there's a great app called Sniff Spot, and you can actually, you can look up people's private homes that they're making available to rent. So for a small fee, you can go and use someone's private backyard or a park, or someone has maybe a farm and they have like a little designated area. And that way you also know it's not as heavily trafficked as some of your like traffic stops. And I love doing that. I still use my own water sources, and I don't let them just drink from the streams or whatever's available. My own water sources, I wipe their paws, and I try to keep my eye out for other like droppings for other animals or dogs. It's really special because some of these places are acres and you can really let your dog just have a great time in a fenced-in area.
Sniff Spot, right?
Yeah, Sniff Spot. It's fun to use.
Last thing, we want to do a little promo. What is Farm Girl going to be doing the show on Dog TV before we say goodbye?
So Farm Girl is going to be so much fun. Have you ever watched Mike Rowe's Dirty Jobs?
Yes. I love that show.
So, and I love Mike Rowe. That was such a great show. So it's similar and a little, I would say, probably not as dirty because he did some pretty dirty jobs. Yeah, but it's all about Purina Farms. And that is one of the places where when you think of Purina, you just think dog food, but we don't realize how many other things happen at Purina Farms. And so I actually get to host the show on Dog TV. And it's a blend of, yes, the dog side, but also all the other things that Purina does. And it's really kind of neat. There's like, they have a whole farm section, live shows and performances. The Incredible Dog Challenge was there at that time, which is a really big event. And I won't give too much away, but some of the experiences were very surprising.
When will this air? And it will air on Dog TV? Is that correct?
It will air on Dog TV. And from my understanding, it's going to be this fall.
Okay. That's last parting tip you want to give all of us two-leggers about bringing the best out in our four-leggers.
I think that my best tip that I can give you is that, first of all, I want you to know that you're doing enough and that we are really hard on ourselves. And if you do feel that you're not doing enough, then try something new. Just try something new, whether it's trying to teach a trick or join a local group and do some scent work, or meet some friends and go on a trail, and just give your dog some different new experiences, because you'd be surprised what doors may open for you from just bettering their life. You'll notice that your life also gets better, and you might meet people and do new things and open some doors you would have never expected. And that's exactly what happened when I rescued Beasley, at just the intention of having a dog to hike with.
I love it. I love it. I have thoroughly enjoyed having you on our show. We're talking with Chrissy Joy, ChrissyJoy.com, and on social media also at The Joy Crew. Chrissy, thank you so much for being a guest.